Today you join me in beautiful sunny Sedona, Arizona for the first drive program on the all-new 2023 Honda Pilot. This is a vehicle that Roman and I had a chance to check out, walk around, and look at all the features on at a studio in LA. However, this is a first drive program, so very soon we're gonna have videos taking this TrailSport off-road. However, in the meantime, what we wanna do before that video comes out is look at the differences between the Pilot Elite and the Pilot TrailSport, because both of these are interesting trims for the Pilot that offer very, very different features. So let's get them side by side and compare why you might want one versus the other. Now we'll start out a little bit lower down in the range with the TrailSport. This is not the most expensive model. It's not what they would maybe call the top of the line, the flagship. However, for us being Colorado based, could argue that it's the most interesting because, again, it is the TrailSport. So this is their more rugged Honda Pilot. And that doesn't just mean that it's got black accents, doesn't just mean that it's got rugged trim and everything. They've done real mechanical things to this to make it more capable. So if you look underneath, it's got a very substantial steel skid plate. Oh, just past there. Yeah, there it is. That covers the engine and the transmission, and it's also got a recovery point on the front. Now, I will say, as far as locations for a recovery point go, this is good because it allows them to get through pedestrian safety regulations and still have a recovery point. So the fact that it has one at all is great, but if you're in a situation where you're stuck, likely that's probably going to be hard to get to. So it's not my favorite recovery point I've ever seen, but again, I'm glad that it has it. Now if we move around the side, you'll also see a skid plate under the fuel tank. And once again, this is thick steel. This is a really substantial skid plate here under the fuel tank. Yeah, so it's nice to see that they've got legitimate underbody protection on this vehicle. Now the ground clearance is only about 8 inches, so it's not a ton of ground clearance, so it is nice to have those skid plates there. And you've also got this set of Continental Terrain Contact all-terrain tires. Not a super aggressive tire, so it's still plenty compliant. You know, it's a tire that's not going to struggle with on-road driving, right? But you can see a little bit more tread than you get on a typical tire. You've also got these TrailSport specific wheels here with their logo stamped in, so some styling upgrades as well. So yeah, the suspension about 1 inch taller on this as compared to the standard model. It's different springs, different shocks, different sway bar, and another really nice feature when it comes to off-roading is the fact that you have a full-size spare tire. Now this is going to come into play a little bit later on when we talk about one of the features that this TrailSport doesn't have, and one of the reasons that you might want to opt for the Elite if you don't plan to do any trail running. Also around back here you can see a hitch. This is rated to tow 5,000 pounds, and you can also use this hitch for recovery points. So it's got a little bit of a double use there. Well, let's pop the trunk. You can see electronic liftgate, and this trunk space gives you 22.4 cubic feet behind the third row. If you fold all the seats down, you get just over 114 cubic feet of space. So decent trunk space, and it is a 3-row. So this TrailSport is a 7-passenger vehicle. And let's move around to the front of the TrailSport Pilot and show you a few of the interior features. Now you can see these seats are TrailSport branded, orange stitching. If you look in the footwell, you'll also see some floor mats that are TrailSport branded as well. And if we switch this on, which, wow, the fan is turned up really high, then we can go into one of the driving modes, trail mode, and you actually have 7 different options for your driving mode. So everything from sport to normal, economy, snow, trail, sand, and tow. But if we go into the trail mode, you have one of the nice features here on the TrailSport. It's their trail cams. So a forward view that you can expand. You can also have that screen shared with a 360 view, and you can have the side view as well. So good use of your cameras. So some nice tech to have here for off-roading. You've also got hill descent control, another good feature to have. And overall, it's just a good interior. 10.2-inch instrument cluster, a 9-inch infotainment screen, of course, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Overall, nice materials, especially on your touch points. Now you can search around and you can find some materials that feel a little bit cheaper, but generally everything that you are most often going to interact with, they feel nice to the touch. So that is some of the basics with the TrailSport. And let's also, before we move on, pop the hood. Now, as far as powertrain goes, this TrailSport has a 3.5 liter V6, updated now in this new 4th generation Pilot, 285 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque, and a 10-speed automatic transmission hooked up to a really impressive all-wheel drive system. This all-wheel drive system can send as much as 70% of its power to the rear wheels, and Honda claims it can send 100% of that power to the rear wheels to either rear wheel. So it's a very sophisticated all-wheel drive system, and the fuel economy rating on this TrailSport is 18 city, 23 highway, and 20 combined. So overall, it's an impressive vehicle. It gives you a lot of options, a lot of things that it offers, a lot of nice standard equipment, and a lot of rugged features that make it a pretty rugged vehicle. Now, the Elite, on the other hand, is that more premium option. It's going to give you more tech, more features, but less of those rugged options. And let's go ahead and start right off the bat with the feature that this has that doesn't, and it's a big one. So if we pop the door here going into the back seat, you will see that there are 3 seats in the center row. That is not the case with the TrailSport. The TrailSport is a 7-seater, and this Pilot Elite is an 8-seater. So if you're really trying to maximize how many people you can carry around in one of these cars, something like this is going to be the better option. And now if you stick there, I'm going to walk around to the other side and show you something very Honda, show you something very cool that this center seat does. So you pull this tab and it turns into a center console. Couple cup holders, little cubby, nice armrest for these captain's chairs if you want it to be that. However, what you can also do is pull a strap here at the front of the seat, pivot it forward, got a nice handle under here that you can use to lift the seat out. Now, that's not that uncommon. I mean, there's plenty of vehicles out there that let you remove seats, but a lot of times what happens with these is they end up in your garage, pushed off to the side. Maybe you forget that they're there. Maybe you need them when you're on a road trip and you don't have any place to store it because you have to bring other things with you when you're on a road trip. This is the cool thing. If you pull this cargo floor cover, what you can do is you can actually store the center seat in the Pilot. You can even go and strap it in place with this little seatbelt strap, and just like that, you cover it. Turn it into a 7-seater. That center seat is gone and it's stowed where you can still access it. You can pull it out and use it anytime you want. Something else creative that they did here is that this cover for that little cargo area underneath is carpeted on the top to match the backs of the seats. Looks nice. But if you have maybe some muddy boots or anything along those lines, you can flip it over and you have a hard plastic cover instead. So just some things that they've done to make this versatile, to make it useful. And let's hop around the front and check out the Elite's interior. Whew. Yeah. So you can tell different seat materials here, a really nice premium interior, and you also get a lot of extra features when you step into the Elite. You get heated rear seats. You also get ventilated front seats in addition to the heated front seats and the heated steering wheel. So there's just some options here in the Elite that you don't have in the TrailSport. A lot of premium bits in this car that make it a little bit more of a high-end car. So you kind of have to ask yourself, do you want that more street-focused, more premium vehicle that can seat an extra person, or do you want those rugged features? Do you want the ability to go up a fair number of moderate trails and not be worried about damaging the fuel tank or the transmission or the oil pan or anything because it's got those skid plates, you know? And let's jump on the outside. You can see a little bit of the exterior differences between these two. You can see chrome accents. It's a little bit more subdued. Again, more street focused, a little bit more premium. Doesn't kind of shout at you so much. Bigger wheels, less sidewall, less aggressive tires. So those are really the primary differences between these two. Pricing for the two starts at about $48,350 on the TrailSport and just over $52,000 on the Elite. So you do pay a premium if you want that premium trim of the Pilot. But if it were up to me, I'd go for the TrailSport because again, we are based out of Colorado and we love going off-road. And there's a lot of running gear on this that makes it a pretty legitimate off-roader. There's impressive gear, impressive hardware put on this. It's not just badges. It's not just a name embroidered in the seat. It's real hardware. So let us know what you think down in the comments below. Which of these two would you rather have? And keep your eyes peeled for videos where we actually get out and drive these coming very soon.